Welcome to WRPI Troy 91.5 FM. This is DJ Gabe, joined by Ryan Kelly.
Hey, Gabe. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course, good to have you. So, a little bit of an introduction here. Ryan Kelly is an engineer turned accountant, turned Disney entertainment host, turned comedian at night, scam hunter by day.
Yeah. It's it's been a weird career path, if I'm completely honest with you. My parents are very confused.
Yeah, I'm sure. And so, to start off, I just want to say I saw that is it true that your birthday was last week?
It's the 18th.
So happy belated.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And so to start off the interview part of this, so we're a radio station. We have a lot of music here. We like talking about music. So I know that you're a comedian. You probably listen to a lot more comedy specials than music while you're driving around and all of that. But are there any artists or bands that you're listening to recently?
You know what's funny is I don't listen to too much comedy, in the fact that I don't want it to affect my style so much. And I feel like once you start listening to it, but man, I love the band AJR.
Okay.
I've seen them live a couple times now. They're always awesome. They put on just this epic show. It's more like
I
theater.
think I saw at one point you had a comedy special or something that came out that had some music by them. Was that?
So yeah, I posted a video. It was like 7 months before, and then they responded to it. And I was I was trying to get Way Less Sad to be the the intro music for it. And yeah, Ryan ironically from AJR was like, yeah, man, go for it. We don't care. Go, do it. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I know we definitely have some fans of AJR on the station and all that.
They're so good. I just love their style. I had my comedy described in the same way as that, their music, which is a happy panic attack. And I was like, it's a weird way to describe it, but I love it. Yeah. So, that tends to be a lot of it. Otherwise, when I'm driving, and I drive a ton, it tends to be a lot of podcasts or YouTube. I don't know why I always fall asleep to deep time or geologic time videos. Man, learned a lot about dinosaurs recently. Don't know why. Not a paleontologist, but
yeah. So another thing, last night I saw you were helping out with some renovations at our student union. In the video I saw, could be called an embarrassing moment, but where a sledgehammer flew out of your hands as you were hitting the wall. I'm wondering, was that on purpose? Was that for comedic effect?
Dude, it is so much more embarrassing. Yes. First off, Gavin told me, he was like, yeah, so we're doing the show, and then we're going to have a meeting, and then we're destroying a wall. And I was like, you can't skip over that last part. What are we doing? And I was like, can I stay? And he's like, I mean, if you're around. And I always do meet and greets after shows. And so I was talking with people, and then somebody came in from the balcony and was like, Ryan, they're breaking the wall. Let's go. And I was like, let's go. My mom is a contractor. She essentially does demolitions. She can wire. She can do whatever. She's built houses. It's crazy. And so the fact that when on my first swing, it hadn't been labeled, and so I hit a support beam, and it just didn't move. But you know what? Good on the support beam.
I mean, well.
Lived up to the name. And then the second one, man, I swung, and I wasn't expecting it to just keep going, and it did, and it went completely out of my hands and through the wall.
Oh,
and
wow.
Of course, I was one of the first people up, so it's just gone, and everyone's looking at me like, that's an insane human being right there. Yeah, and so, no, my mom, I hope she doesn't see that video, because she's like, I trained you so much better than this.
Yeah. So you did improv in high school.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what other early life experiences did you have that you feel led you down this path that you're on now?
Dude, honestly, it's weird, because when I was younger, I was like, why are all these weird things happening to me? And now I see it as kind of like the stones beneath your feet kind of thing, where I was like, oh, this all makes sense together, because none of it really did. Did a ton of improv in high school, did it in college, but I also started doing stand-up. I've been trained at every major improv school, which is silly. Essentially, improv is the cult of comedy. It's the Scientology of
of course.
You just keep paying, you go up levels. But it's my parents always had cool stories, and my grandparents did too. And it was something that I always I wanted to live life to have stories and be able to talk and do all these different things and to tell my kids. And I don't have those yet, but I'm working on that. So from there, I just kept having weird things happen to me. I mean, from surviving a plane crash to I've been skydiving and my parachute didn't open. I was scuba diving. I was 50 feet under in essentially a cave, and my oxygen ran out. There's just been weird things that have happened that all end up being a little silly later.
Yeah.
But it's been fun things like that just, I don't know. I feel like the improv helps me with the crowd work and the social engineering side of it. The stand-up helps me tell the story. And now, even in the other stuff that I do with the scam hunting, weirdly enough, the improv is what's so helpful because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
these scammers are trying to tell you a story, and then
And-
I have to tell them a fake story back.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds it. I was going to get into it a little later, but so during my dad's college years, actually, he was a scuba diving instructor at UC San Diego. So I did hear about that interesting experience with scuba diving as well as skydiving, and you want to take a second to get into that, talk a little bit about that? 'Cause
Sure,
it's
absolutely.
definitely interesting.
Yeah, it was. I always feel like I am really lucky in very unlucky situations, which has been really nice. I think that's why I'm still here. But yeah, so skydiving, second time going skydiving. I was planning on going a couple times. I honestly wanted to go skydiving solo and in a full suit. I feel like that sounds so cool,
Yeah.
like very John Wick.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be fun. But the second time I went skydiving, we jump out of the plane. We're going down. I am tandem, so there's a guy behind me. He's the guy that knows what he's doing. I thought, and he pulls the chute, and I hear him swear. He goes, "Oh, blank," and I go, "What?" Which is also not a thing you want to hear when you're plummeting towards Earth.
Definitely,
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, we jumped
One of
from
the worst things
18,000
you could
feet.
hear.
So I was like, oh, no, this is bad. And it's getting closer quicker. And I look back and he goes, look up. And I look up and our parachute is just completely jumbled and tangled together. And I go, what does that mean? And he goes, well, we got two options. We're going to either go to reserve or we're going to have to twist out of it. And I go, okay. I go, which one's better? And he goes, you'd rather twist out of it in case the second one doesn't go. And I was like, not what I want to hear.
Yeah, no, that I feel that's probably the second worst thing you could hear.
Yes.
Skydiving.
Dude, it was crazy. And so we did it. We spun and we kept spinning. It took longer than I'd like, but eventually it did pop. And so we were on the ground much quicker than everybody else.
Yeah.
And that was kind of when I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm good.
Enough of the experiences that.
I'd done a lot of like near-death experiences. I've also like raced fast cars and done fun things. And like, it was always really fun. But now, honestly, I'm married. I have a wife. Like I'm very much less chasing that adrenaline high now.
You got enough stories to tell.
I do. And you know what? Like, those aren't even like, some of them are the interesting stories, but the more interesting stories just happen randomly.
Yeah,
like, for instance, I was hunting scammers and I was performing at a college in Virginia. And this kid comes up to me afterwards. He's a big guy. He's like 6'4". I'm 6'1", so he's definitely like towers over me. He goes, hey, man, nice to meet you. And I go, nice to meet you. And he goes, by the way, you put 6 of my friends in jail. And I go, I don't think I did. Like, I was totally thrown. And turns out I had recently done a PayPal scam bust. He was from India. He came over and I was like, and he goes, don't worry about it, man. They were bad guys anyway. And I was like, dude, you got to lead with that.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that's the end of my life. Like, that's just like, oh, they sent him and it's over. But yeah, different scams, a lot of different things. And the scuba diving thing, I was in Dubai. I was doing the Dubai Comedy Festival. And I go down into, it's the world's deepest pool. It's 180 feet deep. We're only going 50 feet down. They have literally like sunk a city down there, essentially.
Yeah.
It used to be like the Sheikh's private pool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is how things apparently happen in Dubai, is it's like, oh, now it can be open for the plebeians. And I'm the plebeians.
As we all are.
Right. And so I went down there and I was, I'm down and turns out my oxygen tank had a leak. And I didn't know that. And we're 50 feet under. I'm literally playing foosball with someone underwater in like a cave, which is the craziest thing to explain. And then I took a breath and it was really short. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I took another one and nothing came. And I looked up and it's sealing. And then
oh, wow.
The guy who was our instructor is also videotaping it. So you actually have it on video of me turning and you can see the fear in my eyes. Because I'm like, at 50 feet under, if I go up and I don't have enough oxygen to blow out, like my lungs might not make it. So I X to him and he dropped the camera and came over. Now, the craziest part is because we were going through like different caves and smaller spaces, we didn't have like a regular extra that you could just grab from people. Normally it's just trailing you. Yeah. Makes it really easy. Our extra was the primary. So essentially the second the backup was wrapped around our necks. And then the primary, they had to be chosen to give to you. So literally, thank my instructor. Like he is the reason I'm still here today, because he realized what was happening, dropped his primary, grabbed his secondary, and I got to breathe again. And he he took mine while we were still down there and tried it and was like, oh, his eyes got really big.
Yeah.
And we went up there, and I actually traded out my tanks, and I went back down because I realized if I was well,
I feel like that wouldn't have been my
right. Well, here's the thing. I knew that if I didn't get back down there, I would never scuba dive again.
Okay,
probably.
that's fair.
Yeah,
That is
I
fair.
was just like, that's a terrible way to end on it. So yeah, I went back down. It was totally fine. But that dude for sure saved my life. There's a British
Yeah.
guy in Dubai who like really saved
You
my
owe him,
life.
yeah.
Oh, hugely. And it was just really cool. But I'm just glad that it worked out.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, that would not be not in my top 10 ways to go.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, it's like I wouldn't consider that like a super adrenaline filled thing. I just wanted to scuba dive. Yeah,
Mhm.
went crazy. So
Yeah. So last night during your show here at the Union, you mentioned that when you started school you were going for engineering, but ended up with a bachelor's in international relations and business, and then followed that up with a master's in homeland security.
yes.
So where did you go to school, and what was that college experience like for you?
Okay, first off, I'd like to say to all the RPI students listening, nothing is more humbling than every RPI student coming up and being like, "Oh, I'm just an aerospace engineer." Oh, just is
Yeah.
that it? Like that's I do CS and 4 other things.
Yeah,
I'm the head of 9 council. It's you guys have the most talented group of people that go here.
I know it's a lot to be around all that as well. I mean, it's
No kidding. Yeah, it's incredibly humbling, but they were super impressive, but also super amazing and down to earth, and it was so cool. So I went to Calvin College, now Calvin University in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Mhm.
After that, I moved out to Los Angeles, had a terrible first job, and got away from that, thankfully. I'm very Midwestern, so it's like you can't get me to do things I don't want that are they're weird. So I needed to apply, so I started working at Disneyland. Disneyland had, at the time, a program, and they still have the program. I don't think they do masters anymore. I don't know if it's because of me. I do know that I have changed some rules at Disneyland. Nothing was funnier than coming back from COVID furlough and hearing them do new training for social media and going, okay, you have to say, if you do talk about working here, that you don't speak for the brand or the company. I was like, that's my tagline. It was very fun. Anyway, so they offered payment for your master's program, and working at Disney was interesting. Honestly, the job itself was super cool, like working with families and kids.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that that's going to be the bad part of it. You don't really have that many Karens there because everyone's trying to just like be sweet and have those moments.
I mean, who's going to want to ruin that experience for their kid, especially?
Exactly. And management was like frustrating. And so I got my master's degree in Homeland Security because it was like, fine, it'll cost them more money. Like, and if they're willing to offer it, I always had a fascination in Homeland Security. That started when I was like 16, did a program, ended up in DC, toured the NSA. And yeah, so I wanted that, and I got it. It was supposed to be like a 2.5-year program or 2-year program. And I think I got it in like, I want to say it was like 13 months or something like that. I was just kind of like, I just want to get this done. It was so cool though. And actually right now I'm working on the proposal for my PhD
Oh, wow.
for criminology with essentially cybersecurity and fraud. And
That's awesome.
I'm talking with a professor next week on possibly becoming my advisor because I think I didn't expect to ever use the stuff that I learned.
Yeah.
Like that was never part of it. But when I was moving from Los Angeles back to St. Louis, which is where I'm originally from, I got scammed. And
Yeah. So yeah, I have a question about that somewhere. But I saw that in right, yeah. So you got scammed in early March of 2023, right? Is that
yes,
correct?
I did. Yep, that's
So-
what I think it was.
Yeah, so you could have stopped after you got the guy, but I mean, you kept doing it. So why do you think that that was really
It was so satisfying to get the bad guy. I also have some family history where unfortunately a cousin was taken from us, and because it was in between jurisdictions,
oh wow.
there was nothing that could be done. Essentially, neither side of the police force wanted to take it,
Yeah.
and we knew who did it.
Oh my gosh.
So that's kind of, and it just kind of instilled this like frustration, but also like desire for like justice.
Mhm.
And once I had essentially I posted the video explaining, essentially I went through a real car broker. They accidentally set me up with a scammer, and I got scammed. I lost $712.50. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm not particularly flush with cash. Especially then, I'd also just bought the engagement ring for my now wife.
Oh wow.
And so I was definitely not flush with
Yeah.
cash. And I was like, not good. But I tracked it, because I'm a stand-up comedian, I have a lot of free time. So by the end of the first day, I had their driver's license, I had their home address, I had the people that
Wow.
were involved, I had the phone number. I called they were out of Indiana. I called their local FBI field office and I explained it to them. I swear the desk agent looked at me and went, dude, I just got scammed that way. And I was like, that's not what I want to hear. It's not what I want to hear from the FBI. Yeah. I was like, no, I came for you to fix it, not be part of the problem. But the company that accidentally set me up, they actually gave me my money back. I actually talked to their CEO on LinkedIn. I was like, hey, man, this is what happened. And I was super bummed. And he was like, dude, I will send you the money. Please stop making videos about this.
Yeah, dude, we love LinkedIn here. I think RPI is usually top of the leaderboard for the LinkedIn puzzles most weeks. So
that makes sense. Yeah. I had somebody ask me last night, and unfortunately I didn't have my LinkedIn login to like friend them, but I was like, I really wanted to friend them. But and thankfully, like, he did give me my money back, which I thought was a really cool thing, because he could have totally ignored me and just done anything. But and now they have a program that is better at dealing with these type of situations, which was really nice. It got millions and millions of views. I had so many people that reached out to me and went, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do this for me? I've had thousands of submissions, and I try to take a crack at as many of them as I can. It's difficult if people don't hear back from me. It's like, I'm not trying to do this personally, but I just really like, I've only got so much time in the day.
Of course.
Unlike RPI students who seem to have 48 hours in every 24. But from that, weirdly enough, yesterday, and I'll get on a call with him today, a buddy of mine that we work with and doing it, we do crypto tracing. We froze $100,000 of stolen assets, which is awesome. And I'm just so happy that, like, there's more stories to come and more things to take out. But it's been a real blast to be able to, and honestly, I just feel good to be able to, I do it all pro bono. I'm not trying to make money from it. I just want people, I've seen it destroy people, and I don't want to be there. I don't want that to happen to you. So I will take a crack at as many of them as I can.
I mean, that's one thing with RPI as well that I love. We have so many of our computer science and ITWS, information technologies and web science majors.
Yeah.
So many of them going into cybersecurity and doing all of that. A lot of my friends as well. It's just a really cool field.
They do great stuff. And it's funny because I was mostly hard assets with my master's. But since then, I've had a lot of people that reached out to me, and thankfully some people from really interesting walks of life that have been like, hey, I want to learn how to do this. And I was like, heck yeah, I do.
Why not?
And so, I learned a little bit of it in school, and then I learned a lot of it from people that were much better than me. And it's been cool.
Yeah, I find that's how it goes a lot with, especially what I've been learning here, that I learn so much in my classes, but here at the radio station and just working on projects and learning from the people around me, you really learn so much more.
Absolutely. You know what? I think that you learn so much from people that are interested in it and that want to tell you and learn about it and that are good at it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's a lot of it. A lot of on the job training.
Yeah. So right down the street from our station, we have a pizza place and a kebab place, both of which are open late into the night and fuel many of the late night study sessions for a lot of the campus. So I was wondering, both when you were in school and doing your 2-year master's program in 13 months and all of that, what was your go-to late night fuel?
Oh, man, when I was getting my bachelor's, it was pizza. I used to get so much pizza, and most of it because we lived in Michigan. And, dude, I got so much pizza, I became friends with the delivery driver. His name was Willie. Super nice, older guy, but, like, I mean, we traded Christmas cards to give you an idea of, like, just loved this dude. It was sweet, and you know what? I hope he's doing well to this day. Sweet guy. And I was getting my master's, so I was working at Disney at the time, and so I did a lot of, like, I'll say it was what it was ever open. I'm trying to think of, like, probably Wendy's, probably a good amount of Wendy's, if I'm honest. Yeah,
all right.
It was the 4 for $4. I was like, $4? Heck yeah, I can make that work. Yeah. Or I would just eat because we'd get discounts, and you could do like backstage stuff, and so I would get like really cheap meals while I worked at Disney. That was always the goal. It's what's cheap.
I'm going to be going to Disney World, not Land, over the summer. So anything that you recommend for me that I need to try while I'm there?
Oh, man, Epcot's just great. I love Epcot, and my wife, that's her favorite park. Just eat around the world if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
All right. So we talked a little bit about all of those experiences and those that not everyone would have that you've had throughout your life. How do you feel that those experiences have really shaped the way that you view the world, the way you perform on stage, and, like, other than just giving you more material to talk about, how it actually affected you?
Yeah, I think that as I get older, I think I have more of an appreciation for it. I think when I was younger, like, there's also things that I have, like, I have an essential tremor, which I can't control. Essentially, random parts of my day, my neck will all of a sudden be shaking. It affects my neck. Most people, it affects their hands, and mostly it happens in older people. I always make the joke that I got it young. Don't mean to brag, bit of a prodigy. And it was something that really bothered me. People would always think I was nervous or things like that. And that's not the case. I was never nervous. I loved performing, but I did shake. Now I talk about it on stage and I make a whole bunch of jokes about it, and it's really freeing. I think that there's been a lot of those type of things. I have pretty bad scoliosis. I have
I do as well.
Really? No way.
I was talking about this last night. I have you beat by 5 degrees.
No
So,
way.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're 42
42,
degrees?
3 degrees off of surgery.
I was about to say, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's crazy. I thought I was 3 degrees off of surgery. I thought it was 40. So that's wow. Yeah. So and it is painful.
Yeah.
It is actually right now I'm dealing with my birthday happened, and just to let me know that I was older, I got sciatica, which has been like more painful than I expected.
Yeah.
Not as painful as kidney stones, I will say that. But it was one of those things where it's like, it's painful, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I think that also when I was much younger, I definitely, we're allowed to talk about any sort of mental health stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I definitely struggled with like depression and a lot of issues there. And it's something I never talk about on stage, mostly because I feel like a lot of comedians and a lot of people do talk about it now. And my goal is always, it's very happy, it's very wholesome, and it's meant for you to forget about those problems. And I know that sometimes it just helps. Sometimes it does help to talk about it. I think that's totally great. And cheers to those that do. I just think that what I've seen and what I needed at the time was people to show me kind of like a happier side.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be the center of.
Exactly. I feel like sometimes we can get kind of like down the drain with it, where it's like you keep circling it, and that's an issue. But man, now and I never believed people when they said it, but like, man, age can really help like get you places, and it really does. And it's so hard to explain, especially when you're younger. Like in college, I never believed it, but like, you can really give it time. There's so much time, and there's so much more that I'm like just appreciative now. And it's not because of success. My happiest days are when I'm sitting at home playing a game that no one's ever heard of called Elite Dangerous while my cat sits on my lap. You know what I mean? I think that there's so much. I appreciate the simple now.
Yeah, just quality time, even just with yourself is important.
With myself. I mean, now, I'm very thankful that like I'm married. I have a wonderful wife. I think that like that's the most important decision you'll ever make. And like just because like, man, I hear so many comedians that are like, my wife. And it's like, no, my wife's awesome. Like, she's so much cooler than I'll ever be. Like, that's, and it's just awesome. And I think that that's a super important thing is like, just if you can have a steady base, and that's the thing, when you're a teenager, when you're in high school, when you're in college, you don't have that. Like, that just hasn't been established yet. So give it time. You'll get there, I think would be like my main takeaway. And it feels so much better to be at that place now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, you're talking about that steady base. In the past, you've talked about how you feel that consistency, likability, and interesting content have been really like your key to success in social media and that sort of thing. And while that's true, there's also definitely some people who have been doing that and are yet to make it. Do you have any tips for people who might be in that situation, or just any comments about that general mindset?
Yeah. So first, I think I have consistency in posting. I don't have consistency in content, which is what everyone tells you need to have. I disagree with that. I've been much more of what they consider like variety creator. And that's because the ADHD is strong. And for me, I also think that you run out of things. Now, granted, I've had a long-running series now of Hey Buddy, where I talk about companies' histories and things like that, which is really just me telling my agent every other day, hey, we can't work with them anymore. They're going to be mad. Which he loves, I'm sure. But no, I think, so it was never my intention to do social media. I never really did social media until 2019. Like I'd had an Instagram. I think I'd posted 4 things. And I ended up, I loved stand-up, though. That was the thing that I really loved, and I wanted to pursue it. But I didn't have enough time to go up and keep doing open mics while I worked at Disney because I was trying to pay. And so I ended up started posting to Instagram. This is before Reels. You would never get any traction with videos then. And I had a buddy of mine named Casey Jones, and he texted me, and he goes, hey, man, you should try this new app called TikTok. And I go, sounds dumb. like who named it? Is it based off the Kesha song? And I posted my first video, and it got more views. It got 25,000 views within like 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Which was more views than I'd ever gotten on any other platform
especially
combined.
for a first video. That's...
Yes. And so, which was really encouraging because it let me know it was what I was doing wasn't for nothing, that I actually was learning how to tell stories. I was learning how to do jokes. And so I kept posting there, and I started posting October 15th of 2019. By February 8th, I hit my first million.
Oh, wow.
Which was crazy. Now, for people that do post all the time and that do want to like do what I do, first off, don't. Like that would be my first genuine advice. Is like, it's not what you think. It's not only that. It's like, and you see it. Like, I love what I do. In stand-up, and I love that I've been able to make people smile and make people feel better about their stuff. I get so much more reward out of actually helping people on the cyber side, though. I would say comedy helps people forget about their problems. Cyber helps people fix their problems, and that's so much more rewarding.
Definitely.
There's also way easier ways to make money. I think people see like the numbers on like followers, and they're like, "Oh, he must make crazy money." No, at all. That's an illusion.
I mean, a big thing like with us, like with working with bands here a lot, like that's another thing, like especially with musical artists, like streams don't really mean too much. It's
no, and that's the funny thing. For them, it's a lot of ticket sales. For us, it can be ticket sales, but comedy and music has a lot of overlap. But if you're not doing like arenas, you're not going to make crazy money. And for me, I love doing colleges because it's like I get a flat rate. I can just stay at really cheap places, but I get to like hang out and have fun, and it's just really easy. It's just a softer version of everything. I think that's really nice. Clubs can be a lot, to be honest, especially if you have a lot of people that are intoxicated.
I'm sure.
But also we're switching over to more of a crowd work thing with stand up, and I personally don't like that. I love the storytelling base. But yeah, it's also really frustrating because, like, you know, you're at the mercy of an algorithm. I am not unaware. I got incredibly lucky. You know what I mean? That was a chance encounter, and that doesn't happen to almost anyone.
Yeah.
However, if you are planning on doing it and you've heard everything I've described and been like, that's not that awful, keep posting regularly, mix up your content, and once you find something that does work, hit and hit and hit and hit. An important thing I learned with stand-up is, like, really importantly, is, look, you've got to look to you. People are going to want, and as shady and sad as it sounds, people are going to want certain things from just the way that you look. For instance, for me, I understand that what I look like is a youth pastor. That's why I go by Youth Pastor Ryan. I'm not one. I just am acutely aware that, like, I know what I look like. And so because I leaned into that, people want to know that you know. You know what I mean? It's the same way where why I talk about my tremor and why I have other friends that get on stage and talk about their disabilities. If you get on stage and you have a disability and you don't talk about it, people are concerned about it the whole time. I have a friend that makes the best joke about it, which is so true, which is, I'm aware. I know what's happening right now. He has Parkinson's, and he's like, dude, I'm aware that I'm shaking right now. Like that.
I mean, I a while ago, I had been a fan of Drew Lynch for a while.
Yes,
you know him.
Yes, I know him personally. Actually, Drew's great. And yes, he talks about it. He's aware of it, and it's so nice. I had a couple of buddies that were in wheelchairs, and they were like, okay, we need to get this out of the way. So I would say, like, be aware. The self-awareness is a super important thing of what, and that doesn't mean that you have to fall into a stereotype of it, but it does mean that, like, talking about and being aware of it is super important.
Of course.
I don't know. I also think it's about following the things that you love. I love history storytelling. I think it's so much fun. And so that's what I do. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I post it online, but that's not the real idea of it. The real idea of it is those stories.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a lot of that. And good luck to anybody that is trying to do it. I think that also, like, pursue what you're doing while doing. Obviously, I had plenty of backup plans, you know, from the bachelor's to the master's to all these different things. And just do it casually. And if it eventually works out, lean into it if you want to. But even that, I know plenty of people that have dropped off from it. I think it's also super frustrating because, like, there are days where there were days in early TikTok where I grew by 124,000 followers a day.
Oh, wow.
That's never going to happen again. Now, there's been a lot of days recently where I've grown by 40, like, if I grow.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, the algorithms all changed. Like, early TikTok was way different. The follow culture was different. Like, there's so many other things going into it that don't just put pressure on yourself to keep going. And there will be people that, like, you jump early and they surpass you. And that's fine. Yeah. And it's so hard to not compare yourself to those people.
Yeah,
but then
of course.
All of a sudden you jump later and you pass them. But it's nearly impossible because technically you're all doing the same job. You're all trying to get eyes on your content. So seeing people, like, blow by you, it's very, very frustrating. Very, like, it can be super, like, if you are going to get into this, get a therapist, for the love of God. Like, please do. Yeah.
So just quickly, we've hit the half-hour mark, which means it's time for station ID.
Oh, gotcha.
So would you like to go ahead and say, my name is Ryan Kelly, and you are listening to WRPI Troy?
Absolutely. My name is Ryan Kelly, and you are listening to WRPI Troy.
All right. Just got to write that down.
Awesome.
So, to get back into it, have you, saying that with expanding on TikTok and with the growth slowing down, speeding up, have you been getting into YouTube Shorts? Has that been something that you've been
Yes, and I had been trying to do YouTube TikTok blew up pretty quickly.
Hmm.
Instagram took a while for Reels to finally hit, and then I've gotten pretty good there, which is nice. I'm really comfortable with my TikTok number or my Instagram numbers now, which is nice, which is around 2.2 million. Facebook, weirdly enough, is the one that pays the best.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you don't make money on these things. But Instagram has a nice feature, well, because it's all meta, which
Yeah.
for now they're looking to break it up.
Yeah.
But you can post it and it'll go immediately to a Facebook
Mhm.
page, which is really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And
We
so
have the same thing set up with all of our social medias as well.
it's a blessing, yeah, because man, you have to post to everything, and it's a huge pain. But yes, so I send that there. The Facebook page is somewhere like 450,000, maybe 480. And then, what was the last one? Where was that? Oh, YouTube Shorts. YouTube. I had YouTube for freaking years, dude. I had it for like 5 years, and I would post all the time. And it was literally just last year that it finally hit. And it turns out it's the Hey Buddy series. It's the talking about companies. And I've started doing longer form on there, which is very fun. But I could not get anything to hit on YouTube Shorts. And it was so frustrated. And now I think we're at like 870,000 subscribers, which is nice. And moving in towards the long form version of the Hey Buddy series, which is just company history. And really thankful that it finally clipped. But yeah, I post to everything. I post to Blue Sky, X, everything.
Yeah.
Just because, well, the weird thing is, you never know what's going to go away.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost TikTok for a terrifying 9 minutes.
I know.
It was
I was scared for those 9 minutes.
right. Yeah.
But so with that Hey Buddy series that you were talking about, I think just a few months ago, you did one on a company called Siemens.
Yes.
So that company is one of the I don't want to say most hated at RPI, but we have in our CAD class, our computer aided design class, we use the program Siemens NX.
Oh, okay.
Which is Siemens CAD program, which is an interesting choice of CAD programs.
I'm surprised you guys don't use SolidWorks or something.
So am I.
Yeah.
Like the school gives us a free subscription to SolidWorks, but for the class we have to use Siemens NX.
No.
Which is it was just an interesting. I saw you did that Hey Buddy on them, and it just reminded me.
Yep. Siemens has a really interesting history. A lot of the German companies in the Oh, you were around in the 40s? Oh no. Like,
Yeah.
no, there have been so many companies that I've learned so much about. Yeah, that's it's funny too. I just always think the name of the game should be transparency. Like, be honest about it. Like, one of the ones that I think people actually had a really nice response to was Twinnings, which was a tea company. And all the other tea companies have been cults. And then it was like Yogi Tea, crazy cult. Celestial Seasoning, which is sleepy time tea. Very honestly, like, just very like hippy dippy kind of like peaceful cult. It was just like doing their weird
Still
stuff.
a cult though.
Still a cult, oh for sure. But it was like, you know what? They at least didn't seem like they were hurting anybody, and that was fine. But Twinnings had like a really rough history, and with like because they were an English company during like England.
Yeah.
But they like fully own it on their website and things like that, and they're like, yep. And we tried it like they do like a whole bunch of like free source tea and things like that to really. And everyone in the comments was like, yeah, man, nice. Like, you fixed it. And that's honestly what I'm trying to do is where it's just like, I just want you to know what happened and if the company's owned up to it and like, or if they're IBM. It's just crazy.
I mean, we have here on campus, we have an IBM quantum computer on campus. I don't know if you have heard about that or seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Just,
That's so
I mean,
cool.
if after this, if you want, I could show you over. It's just a building over that way.
No way.
But we are the only private institution to have an IBM Quantum System 1 on our campus.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I definitely want to see that.
I can show you that after this. But yeah, I mean, IBM, a lot of those big tech companies definitely have their own issues and problems, and they're
for sure. And big tech has become more of an issue the more it keeps growing. And there's been a lot of really interesting things that I've gotten to find out, and thankfully people have like either sent me stuff or let me know. And there's also just funny ones that like I'm getting ready to do a video on Diet Pepsi because regular Pepsi is vegan, Diet Pepsi isn't. And they won't explain why.
Yeah, that is very.
What happened?
Yeah, you have to wonder. I mean,
there's so many questions about like there's just funny company things where it's like, what are you guys doing? I just did one on like the North Bergen Police Department out of New Jersey that just came out where like their essentially chief of police turned it into like Animal House, and it's just like literally there's a picture allegedly of him like shaving his arms on like another officer's desk, and it's like, what is going on? So, thankfully, the more weird humans we have in the world, the more my content will continue to stick around.
Yeah, and so getting to that with big tech a little bit, and AI, AI
Yeah,
is, of course, a big part of our life here at an engineering tech school. There
absolutely.
are, of course, differing opinions on everything. How do you feel about AI, and how does it really affect your career?
I think it's interesting.
And also, I guess, both careers, the comedy aspect and the cybersecurity aspect.
Yeah, I think that as far as like cyber goes, it's continuing to be both a threat and an asset.
Mhm.
And that's the tough thing is, kind of any new tech is,
Yeah.
even if you just get down to like cell phones, like, well, now more people have more access to other people, and so there's going to be more scamming.
Mhm.
Um, I think that that's interesting. I think that like, I don't know, there's AI is such an interesting thing. I think we could take the Luddite approach, and I'm actually more prone to that of
Mhm.
being like just like I just want to go live on a farm in
Yeah,
Missouri and
of
like
course.
have chickens, my wife, and a whole bunch of cats. Like
Mhm.
that's
It doesn't sound bad.
it's nice,
Yeah.
It's but I do think that like AI is going to be here to stay. I think that the tough thing is like if and this is what the US is struggling with right now is like if the US doesn't do it, well, China will. If China doesn't, then Russia will. If Russia doesn't, like, eh, no matter what, it's now a power play
Mhm.
thing. I think it's sad when you see it where it's like taking like art away from people. I always think that that's tough. I do think that AI hasn't quite cracked comedy yet, which I think is very nice, mostly because that's got like a lot of
There's a very human
yes,
aspect that's needed.
but they will get it. And I think
Yeah.
that that's what's interesting about the whole thing. I wish that, and everybody talks about like, I wish that, oh, this could fold my laundry or things like that. It's like, yeah, but that's robotics. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not, um, I don't know. I think, AI is one of those things that we should be very careful with.
Mhm.
And I also think it's really like specifically stealing people's work. I think that's a
Yeah.
huge problem.
And I mean, the thing with AI and comedy is that an AI can't come up with its own jokes. It could only take jokes that someone else has told and retell them.
Yes, singular
Mhm.
art, whether it
Yeah.
be digital or painting of, oh, we're just going to take this and we're going to make a variant of it. Apparently, about AI right now is that apparently AI is getting worse because it is copying copies.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, it's kind of like doing
Like it's
essentially
fixing itself.
yeah, it's an Ouroboros
or
of
yeah.
like of the snake eating its own tail.
Yeah.
And so I hope that's what continues to do it where and I hope people end up getting well compensated, paid, writers,
Of
artists, whatever
course.
people are doing. And I would love to see, tech continue to grow. And I think that that will include AI. And as long as it can make the world a safer place or like a
Mhm.
healthier place, that would be great. Unfortunately, what you're seeing right now is not that.
Yeah.
But if you had AI being able, for instance, though, I think it was AI, but everybody uses the term AI when truthfully it could be like machine learning,
Yeah.
ML. But just the common people don't
Yeah.
hear that. What was it? It was a program that was supposed to be able in Japan that could see like certain breads, and then it would charge you right for it. However,
Oh yeah.
the look of the certain breads could also be used to track cancer cells, and so they ended up using it.
I think I did hear about this.
Super bizarre
Yeah.
and very cool, but like cool crossover.
Yeah.
Nice that it exists.
Mhm.
So I think it's the good with the bad. Make sure that we're
Course.
trying to do the most good while hindering the most bad. But you know what? I mean, I feel like that's what I do with cyber.
Yeah.
We love computers, we love tech. At the same time, it's led to what was it? 2024, $8.8 billion worth of lost. No, 2024, $12.5 billion worth of loss to fraud. Huge issue.
Mhm.
So take the good and the bad and try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with that AI and the part of it that is taking away those jobs that you said, in the past, you've talked about how part of what you feel makes you successful is the mindset of make it so that you're invaluable to the people around you so that you'll be hired because they need you. And
Yeah.
so us being at an engineering school, we see that mindset a lot. And how do you feel that that has led you to having your successful career and everything that you've done?
I I don't know because I'm also a comedian, which Kyle Kinane says it best, where it's like if the world collapses, like I'm gone. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, as true as that is, people do need to laugh to survive, and comedy is a necessary
that's
part of
true.
life.
But
I
in
mean,
like the nuclear, scape of the world, like no one's gonna be like, we must go to the city to get ourselves a clown, But I do think that like what I do make myself try to make myself invaluable for is the cyber side,
Mhm.
and is that's not going anywhere unless a massive EMP or a solar flare.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like computer science is so oversaturated now. A lot of people. That's what I was saying with a lot of my friends here, interested in computer science, but then see, hey, cybersecurity.
Yep.
There's only more crimes and not enough people to solve them.
Yes. And so that's where I try to make myself as invaluable as possible. Because that is the tough thing about any job is really you're only there until an employer, until the tech becomes too big
Yeah.
for it. And it's hard because like at the same time, I want everybody to have jobs and I want people to like live great lives and be paid well. I also understand from an employer's perspective of like, of course they're going to take the cheaper option. And so it's the fun thing of like trying to figure out, okay, but how does this expand and looking at where we're expanding next. And this gets in more to an economic and social question, which I'm honestly not educated enough to answer on. But I do think that like, that's the cool thing about RPI students is I mean, gosh, I met someone last night who was doing their PhD on the instrumentation of aerospace and or like satellites. Well, yeah, we're going to use that forever. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, we're only getting closer to space.
Yeah.
So it's so cool to see, like, I mean, I always think about the future and like mining on like asteroids is going to be so cool and things like that. I was actually talking about my wife recently. And I was like, there's very few jobs that people either don't hate what you do, but you get paid really well, or you get paid really poorly and nobody cares like what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, the only crossover is like saturation divers, those guys that fix the cables at the bottom of the sea. I was like, dang, you get paid a lot and you deserve it, man. That's crazy. Obviously with my diving experience, that freaks me out a little bit. Yeah,
of course.
But I just think that, there's so many, like, for instance, that's a job I would have never known existed. But like, even for a while, especially like with stand, I had a problem getting jobs. It was always a struggle for me. I guess I don't interview well, which you tell me, I guess. That's
I think you're doing pretty good.
Well, thanks, man. But I mean, I looked at a whole bunch of different crazy jobs that were just like, well, if it pays the bills. And I don't know. I think that just appreciating like everyone doing work and then having time off and being able to do what they love and stuff like that. I think that that's really, I don't know. I live in a weird world of just hoping to appreciate people for wherever they're at.
But that's important. That is definitely a good mindset to have.
I hope so. And I think it's nice. And I think that, also don't get me wrong, a lot of the people listening to this, especially if they're RPS students, are studying things that'll pay really well. There's not that's not always joy, and I think it's so easy to say, but my happiest has not been when I was making money. My happiest has been when I've been just, I mean, I got to find the love of my life, and I get to we have 2 cats now, and I love our cats, and like my happiest moments are when I get to wake up and my little girl cat is rolling around near my head because she wants attention.
Yeah, I have a little dog at home, and he also does that where he'll roll around on his back and all that.
It's so cute, and it's just, I think that, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen some of the happiest people I've seen go to shows. Some of the most unhappy people I've seen perform at arenas. And I think that that's super important to remember. Yeah.
So I might have missed it, but I haven't really seen you talk much about your wife on TikTok and through the specials from what I've seen.
I haven't announced it on any of those platforms, and I don't plan to.
That's fair.
I will occasionally talk about, obviously, like this and in more intimate interviews.
Yeah.
But no, I think the internet can be a weird place.
Of course. I understand why. Would you want to talk about a little bit about how you guys met, anything like that? Would you be comfortable with
Absolutely. She is so spectacular. She is, we met, I wasn't working at the time, I'd like to point that out, but we met in line at Disneyland. Like, just crazy. We had 2 different groups of friends that wanted to go there. The day that we went, it was July 5th, and not last year, but many years ago now. Gosh. The 4th of July, I went out with my buddy Ahmed. I got burned to a crisp. And Ahmed said he would protect Whitey, and he did not. And so I was burned. I didn't want to go, but my buddy John wanted to go with a group of friends, and he was just like, I don't want to go by myself though, man. And I was like, okay, I'll go. She had a great day. She had just done like work that like paid really well. She was chilling. She was like, oh, but she got there and she couldn't buy a ticket that was just one park. She was only supposed to buy a 1 park ticket. They only had the 2s left over, or the park hopper. Yeah. And so I get there. I am miserable. I am in so much pain. These 2 groups met each other. I didn't know anybody from this other group. I'm also like, I'm very nervous around like other influencers or people like that. Mostly because like it can be a mixed bag. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I've gotten really lucky where like Ahmed was my roommate. We also met through stand up. Like one of my best friends is a guy who he's being just John, like just a huge dude with a beard. All the workout bros, like they've all been really sweet to me. But I always get nervous, and so I met them, and then we're in line, and I somehow got mixed in with their group, which I was like, uh-oh. And this girl comes up to me, and she goes, hey, where'd you get your joggers? And I was like, I was wearing like pants, and I was like, I don't know, and I must have said the name of it, and then she uh, looked at me and I was like, "Oh man, a girl is talking to me. This is crazy." I'm not particularly good with chatting with women. I don't have a
Mhm.
flirt bone in my
Mhm.
body. I'm just like, "Hello." She starts asking me things. She's like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm a stand-up comedian." And she goes, "Oh, I'm German." And she's like, "We don't do comedy." And I was like, "Oh, that's good to know."
Mhm.
Turns out she was born and raised in Berlin. She had moved to the States when she was 16.
Wow.
We started talking, and then she goes, "Well, what do you like doing?" And I hit her with this crazy attractive line, which is, "Oh, I love playing video games," which really seals the deal for
Mhm.
women. I found. Um, and I go, "What do you do?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm a photographer. I do a lot of portrait photography." I was like, "Well, what like interests you about these different things?" And we're just walking together in line. She goes, "Oh, I love what I can see on their faces is the micro expressions,
Mhm.
specifically like the work of like how people are thinking, because
Yeah.
all of us have micro expressions that give
Yeah.
away what we're actually feeling." And me, with my dorkiness, I went, "Oh, do you mean Dr. Paul Ekman?" And she goes, "Yeah. Why do you know that?" And I go, "Oh, I studied Homeland Security, and also
Wow.
like with comedy, I see it all the
Yeah.
time. And so I've learned, and I've read his books on how lying works."
Mhm.
And so we both read the same books, and it was one of those crazy moments of like, "Oh, we're falling in love."
Yeah.
Um,
That's amazing.
and it was after that that we actually our groups went our separate ways after that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to find the German girl." Like that was like,
Mhm.
and ended up she had reached out to me. And I ended up texting her back. We went out for the first time a couple days later,
Mhm.
and
Less burnt.
less burnt, not no burnt, but less burnt.
Mhm.
Um, and man, she is so cool. She's beautiful inside and out. And it's one of those
Amazing.
things is that like she's just like a really sweet person. And I think that like especially like in dating, everybody says, "Oh, you know when you find like the one or something like that,"
Mhm.
or when you find like, but like I feel like we all I dated beforehand. In fact, my first comedy special is called Girlfriends and
Mhm.
Girlfriends. It's one word, two word. And it's about like terrible dating experiences, but it was the girls that were my friends along the way that like kept me solid.
Yeah.
And man, sometimes it's just like you don't realize that like there's so many wonderful people out there.
Of
And
course.
it's nice to like go slow, take your time. You don't have to date everybody, but like,
Mhm.
finding those people and finding who they are as people first is really nice. And
Mhm.
she's been wonderful. She's my little rock. And yeah, she is also the brains of the operation for sure. I mean, I
Mhm.
I just try to get paychecks and I just send them home. And I'm like, "Baby, I don't know what to do. Please help me." Like this year, she did all of our taxes, and I was like, "You're my greatest hero they
Yeah.
could ever have," especially as like a 1099 employee, like
Mhm.
somebody who runs their own business. I was like, "Oh man, you just hear like church bells in the background."
Yeah.
Yeah, we got married in September of last year, and
It's
so
amazing. Yeah.
21st night of September. That was exactly like the song, and so we played it.
Wow.
But it
Yeah.
was
We had a tech lock-in, which is where at the station we stay and work on tech for 24 hours on the 21st night of September as well. So we were playing that on 21st night of September on
on
repeat on the
loop.
radio on loop
Nice.
that
Oh,
whole
that's
night.
awesome.
But
This had to be cool because you guys have so much like different generations
yeah,
of tech here.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so do you do all of the booking yourself, you and your wife? Is it just you on the road driving yourself around?
No, thankfully, I have an agent.
Hmm.
Neon Entertainment is who books me, and it's actually who you guys booked me through.
Hmm.
They are the best. They actually took me before I had any followers. But I had some stand up, and I showed it to them, and they were like, "We have faith in you."
Hmm.
And I was like, "That's why I will be with them till the day I die."
Yeah.
Is like they took a gamble, and they
Hmm.
had faith, and they are fantastic. They're actually out of New York.
Oh wow.
They're out of Buffalo, and great people. The guy who runs it is a guy named Scott, and
Hmm.
he is just nice, cool, like always fun, and really knows his stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that's
awesome.
great.
So I love the college market. I was talking to people last night.
Hmm.
Comedians, we have the 5 C's that we can perform at, which is
Yeah.
clubs, colleges, cruise ships, corporate, or churches.
Hmm.
Um, and for me, especially at the age range that I'm in, and like colleges makes the most sense, and
Yeah.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I notice, and in general, that people with a STEM background tend to approach things a little differently from other people who might not. Have you noticed that about yourself in the way that you structure your day, the way you write your jokes, or any other real part of your life that beginning of engineering and then cybersecurity later on has?
Yeah, you know what's funny is when we were talking with people
Hmm.
before the show, it is funny to me because you always think that like, oh, the STEM people, and there are some people like this that are very organized and very like,
Hi.
which I am definitely a part of, which is just like I run on chaos and I
Hmm.
run on not having a plan
Hmm.
because then anything is an option.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
feel like I can keep doing it. And that is how I run. Like if I get up and like it really is like you're almost chasing the serotonin.
Hmm.
Um, And for me, yeah, that's how I film. It's like, oh, I feel like filming a lot of things today. I'll film 4 or 5 videos and like
Yeah.
knock it out and start. Oh, I feel like editing today. I'll just
Mhm.
crank stuff out, or I feel like writing. So that's how I do it in that regard. And yeah, I do think that the STEM, I definitely don't consider myself STEM, to be
Mhm.
honest. I mean, I know I do a
But I
little
mean,
cyber,
yeah.
but I, compared to all the aerospace engineers and mechies and chemies that I met yesterday, that's
I mean,
STEM.
but it's no less. It's still science, technology, and you're still definitely doing those.
That's true. I guess I just don't have my degree specifically in cybersecurity,
Yeah.
so I always feel weird about it. But I did a lot more of like the hard assets, which I guess
Mhm.
could considered
Yeah.
it like a lot of ranges and a lot of things for different
Mhm.
things. But yeah, no, I think that like it's fun to watch the STEM people play, and especially
Mhm.
like the people that I do get to work with that are very much STEM educated and STEM
Mhm.
minded. Oh man, it's just so much fun where it's like, okay, we're doing this now. Okay, we're doing this
Yeah.
now. And it's just great. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are starting to run out of time here. So
No worries.
as we're coming to this end, is there anything that you have coming up that you would like to shout out to the people?
You know what? I am performing at colleges, so I guess if you want to see me live, go to college. You should probably go for other reasons, I guess. But not really. I'm going to be doing more long form YouTube stuff.
Mhm.
I've got videos that I post every day.
Yeah. And
Uh,
so where can the people find you on all these social medias?
That's it. You know what? YouthPastorRyan.com is the one that has
Mhm.
the link to all of them. But otherwise, it's YouthPastorRyan on TikTok and YouTube. But on Instagram, it's Ryan Kelly Comedy. And yeah, if you want to check out the videos, that helps a ton. Trying to think of other than that, yeah, it's pretty much what I do. I might need to do more things. Other than that, I am getting ready. I think I mentioned to like I'm working on my PhD proposal and very excited about that. But that you probably won't get to see for a while. So yeah.
All right. This has been Ryan Kelly on WRPI Troy. Have a good day.